Over 400 new laws were introduced in the UK last year alone, but most people didn't even notice. Now in 2025, several game-changing laws are coming into force, and they'll affect your job, your rent, your data, your kids, and even how you drive or shop. Some of these laws sound helpful, others feel like the beginning of something bigger, and not in a good way. One law could quietly track your daily life, another might limit what you say online, and a few could cost you money without you realizing it. So which laws protect you, and which ones might go too far? Let's uncover the 10 biggest UK laws in 2025 that every citizen needs to know before it's too late. Number 1. Digital ID becomes mainstream. In 2025, the UK is introducing a nationwide digital ID system that aims to modernize identity verification across both public and private sectors. Instead of carrying multiple physical documents like passports, driving licenses, or utility bills, citizens will soon be able to use a single digital identity stored securely on their smartphones. This ID will allow access to services like applying for benefits, voting, renting property, or even proving your age at the pub. While the system is being launched as voluntary, experts predict it could become the standard for identity verification within just a few years, especially for online transactions and government interactions. The government claims the system will reduce fraud, administrative costs, and paperwork, making everyday tasks simpler. According to recent studies, countries that adopted digital IDs, such as Estonia and Singapore, have seen major efficiency improvements in public services and faster access for citizens. In the UK's case, the new platform is said to be GDPR compliant, using biometric authentication like fingerprint or facial recognition. However, there's been pushback from privacy advocates and civil liberty groups who warn about potential data misuse and surveillance concerns. These groups argue that once the infrastructure is in place, it becomes easier for authorities to track and monitor citizens, even without consent. For individuals, this law could change how they interact with almost every institution. Opening a bank account, verifying your identity for a job, or even accessing healthcare could all shift toward digital-first experiences. This makes it essential to understand how your personal data will be handled. If you're someone who's not very tech-savvy, now's the time to get familiar with digital tools, enable strong two-factor authentication, and understand your data protection rights. As convenient as it may sound, adopting a digital ID comes with the responsibility of safeguarding your own information in an increasingly connected world. Number 2. Mandatory smart meters in all homes. By the end of 2025, the UK government has made it mandatory for all households to install smart meters. These devices automatically track your gas and electricity usage in real time, sending data directly to your energy supplier. That means no more estimated bills or waiting for someone to read your meter manually. The move is part of the country's wider push to build a smart energy grid, allowing suppliers to better manage demand, reduce waste, and encourage more eco-friendly consumption habits. Smart meters are designed to help people become more aware of their energy usage, with in-home displays showing how much energy you're using at any moment and how much it's costing you. According to the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero, households with smart meters tend to use up to 10% less electricity simply because they can see when and where energy is being wasted. It also allows for time-of-use tariffs, which reward consumers for using electricity during off-peak hours, leading to significant savings on monthly bills. However, not everyone is convinced. Some people are concerned about data privacy, radiation from wireless signals, or the accuracy of meter readings, especially with older versions. If you haven't had a smart meter installed yet, expect a visit or call from your energy provider offering a free installation. While you can currently decline, this option is being phased out. Homeowners and renters alike will eventually need to accept the upgrade. If you're unsure how to use the display or track your energy companies offer guides and free training sessions. The key is to monitor your habits, like switching off appliances at the plug or adjusting your heating schedule. This law doesn't just change your bill, it encourages a lifestyle shift toward energy efficiency, giving you the tools to be smarter about consumption and more mindful of your carbon footprint. Number 3. Ban on disposable vapes. Starting mid-2025, the UK will implement a nationwide ban on disposable vapes, a decision driven by growing concerns over both public health and environmental damage. These single-use devices, often brightly colored and flavored to attract young users, have surged in popularity, especially among teenagers. However, health officials warn they may act as a gateway to nicotine addiction. And unlike reusable vapes, they offer no way to regulate intake. The ban will make it illegal to sell, import, or distribute disposable vapes, with heavy fines or license removal for retailers who ignore the rule. This move is also a direct response to the mountains of plastic and lithium waste generated by these devices. Environmental groups have reported that millions of disposable vapes are thrown away each week in the UK alone. Because many contain non-removable batteries, they can't be safely recycled and often end up in landfills, releasing toxic chemicals into the soil and water. The government has described the ban as a critical step toward reducing single-use plastics, part of a wider plan to promote sustainable consumer habits. It's not just about vaping, it's about reducing the UK's overall environmental footprint. If you're someone who currently uses disposable vapes, this law will require a shift in your routine. The legal alternatives will include refillable vape kits, nicotine patches, gums, or even support programs to help quit altogether. Pharmacies and clinics are expected to ramp up their smoking cessation services, and more educational campaigns will be launched to support the transition. For businesses, especially small corner shops and vape retailers, it means adjusting stock and possibly retraining staff on the legal changes. Whether you vape or not, this law signals a cultural shift in public health policy, one that prioritizes long-term well-being and planet-friendly choices over short-term convenience. This could be the start of broader legislation on disposable tech and plastics in the coming years. Number 4. Stricter rent controls in major cities. In 2025, the UK is introducing stricter rent controls across major urban centres like London, Manchester, Birmingham, and Bristol. These laws aim to stabilise the rental market and protect tenants from sudden and unaffordable rent hikes. Under the new rules, private landlords cannot increase rent by more than 5% per year unless they receive formal approval from a housing tribunal. This cap caps even if the tenancy is renewed or if the tenant remains in the property for several years. The goal is to create more predictable and secure housing conditions, especially for low and middle-income families who are being priced out of their communities. The legislation is a response to the cost of living crisis, where wages have failed to keep up with the soaring cost of housing. Studies from housing advocacy groups show that renters in some cities are spending over 50% of their monthly income on rent, leaving little room for essentials like food, transport, or savings. With these new controls, tenants will have more breathing space, while landlords must justify significant rent increases with documented property upgrades or increased maintenance costs. Local councils are also gaining powers to monitor rental trends and enforce penalties on landlords who breach the rules. The idea is to ensure the system works fairly for both tenants and property owners. For renters, this law means it's crucial to understand your rights. If your landlord proposes an increase above the legal limit, you can challenge it through the tribunal system, free of charge. Landlords will need to keep detailed records of property investments if they want to exceed the cap. For new tenants, expect more transparency in pricing, as letting agents must now publish historical rent data for each property. While this may reduce the number of new rental listings in the short term, it's designed to encourage long-term occupancy and reduce renter turnover. Whether you're a tenant or landlord, this law reshapes the dynamics of renting in the UK, and it's vital to stay informed. Number 5. AI regulation comes into force. From 2025, the UK will officially enforce a new set of AI regulations designed to create transparency, fairness, and accountability in how artificial intelligence is used across society. Any business or institution using AI for important decisions, like hiring staff, approving loans, setting insurance rates, or diagnosing medical conditions, must now clearly disclose when AI is involved. They are also required to ensure that the decision-making process can be audited by human reviewers. This is a major shift, aiming to prevent discrimination, algorithmic bias, and the risk of people being treated unfairly by automated systems. The law has been shaped by increasing public concern over how AI can influence lives without oversight. Several studies have shown that unregulated AI can reinforce existing biases in hiring, healthcare, and criminal justice. For example, certain recruitment algorithms were found to prioritize male candidates, and some facial recognition systems struggled with accurate identification of people of color. Under the new rules, companies must prove that their AI models are trained on diverse, balanced data, and that people impacted by an AI decision have the right to request a human review. This not only builds trust in AI systems, but also gives individuals more control over automated processes that affect their futures. For the everyday person, this law might affect how you're evaluated for a job, mortgage, or medical treatment. You now have the legal right to know when AI is being used, and if something seems off, you can request a human appeal. This encourages companies to be more transparent and makes the use of AI more accountable. If you're a business owner or recruiter using AI tools, it's time to review your software and ensure it meets the new compliance standards. From retail to education to finance, these regulations mark the beginning of a new ethical framework for artificial intelligence, making sure technology serves people, not the other way around. Number 6. Universal free school meals for primary students. From September 2025, all primary school children in England will receive free school meals, regardless of household income. This new law is part of a broader strategy to tackle child poverty, improve nutrition, and boost academic performance across the country. Previously, only children from low-income families qualified for free meals, but now, every child in reception to Year 6 will benefit. The government hopes this change will level the playing field in classrooms and ensure no child is forced to learn on an empty stomach. This policy is backed by compelling research. Studies from organizations like the Child Poverty Action Group and the Institute for Fiscal Studies show that free school meals improve concentration, attendance, and behavior. Children who eat well during the school day are more likely to engage with lessons and retain information. It also reduces stigma, allowing all children to enjoy lunch without feeling singled out for their background. For families struggling with rising costs, this means saving up to £500 per child per year, a significant relief as the cost of living crisis continues to impact millions across the UK. Schools are now preparing to scale up kitchen staff, expand dining facilities, and work with local food suppliers to deliver healthier, balanced meals. The law includes strict nutritional guidelines, meaning meals must include vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and limited sugar or saturated fat. Parents are encouraged to review school menus and provide feedback on food quality. While the rollout is starting in England, Scotland and Wales already offer similar programs, and there are calls for Northern Ireland to follow suit. This initiative goes beyond hunger. It's about giving every child the best chance to thrive academically and physically, regardless of their postcode. If successful, it could set the stage for wider reforms in public health and education equity across the UK. Number 7. Road tax changes for electric vehicles. Beginning April 2025, the UK will officially end road tax exemptions for electric vehicles, EVs, marking a significant policy shift as EV adoption continues to rise. Until now, owners of battery electric cars enjoyed a free ride, literally, with no annual vehicle excise duty (VAT). But as more drivers transition from petrol and diesel to electric, the government is adjusting its strategy to recover lost tax revenue and create a more balanced tax system. This means all new and existing EVs will now be required to pay road tax, with fees starting modestly and increasing over time. The move has stirred mixed reactions. Supporters argue that, as EVs become mainstream, it's only fair they contribute to the upkeep of roads and infrastructure like every other vehicle. According to the Office for Budget Responsibility, the government stands to lose billions in fuel duty over the next decade due to the EV boom. This new tax will help fill that gap and fund investments in charging infrastructure, road maintenance, and public transport. On the other hand, critics worry the change could discourage people from switching to electric, especially during a time when the cost of living is already high. The fear is that higher upfront prices, combined with new taxes, might slow down the green transition. For current EV owners, the new road tax will likely start at around £65 per year, similar to that of petrol and diesel cars, depending on the vehicle's list price. Cars costing over £40,000 will be subject to an additional premium rate, just like high-end traditional vehicles. It's also important to note that plug-in hybrids will lose their discounted rates and be taxed more like conventional cars. If you're considering buying an EV, now is the time to factor in these upcoming costs. While EVs still offer savings on fuel and maintenance, the landscape is shifting. The law reflects a move toward equal treatment of all vehicle types, signaling a new phase in the UK's transport policy. Number 8. Right to disconnect becomes law. In 2025, the UK introduces a landmark employment law, granting workers the legal right to disconnect from work communications outside of their contracted hours. That means your employer can no longer expect you to answer emails, respond to messages, or take work-related calls once you're officially off the clock, unless your contract specifically includes it. This law is designed to protect mental health, improve work-life balance, and reduce the growing issue of digital burnout, especially in remote and hybrid roles, where boundaries often blur. Inspired by similar policies in France, Ireland, and Belgium, this UK version acknowledges the pressure many employees feel to be always on. According to a study by the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, CIPD, over 60% of UK workers feel they can't fully disconnect after hours, leading to increased anxiety, reduced productivity, and long-term exhaustion. With this law in place, employees can formally set boundaries without fear of penalty or judgment. Employers will be required to establish clear communication policies, ensuring that non-urgent messages are sent during working hours only. Violations could lead to fines or tribunal cases, especially in industries known for high stress and overtime culture. For employees, this law is a game changer. It gives you permission to truly switch off, enjoy family time, pursue hobbies, or simply rest without worrying about your inbox. If you're in a job where out-of-hours communication is currently expected, it's worth reviewing your contract and having a transparent conversation with your employer. For businesses, this means rethinking how teams communicate, possibly scheduling emails in advance or using delay send features to respect boundaries. The right to disconnect promotes a healthier, more focused workforce and reflects the growing demand for mental wellness protections in the workplace. Number 9. Tighter rules on online advertising. In 2025, the UK is rolling out stricter regulations on online advertising, especially targeting influencers, content creators, and digital marketers. Under the new law, any sponsored content, brand partnership, or affiliate link must be clearly and prominently disclosed. No more hiding, and a sea of hashtags. Whether it's a YouTube video, Instagram post, TikTok clip, or even a blog, creators are now legally required to be transparent about paid promotions. The aim is to protect consumers from deceptive advertising, particularly young audiences who often can't tell the difference between genuine endorsements and paid placements. The Advertising Standards Authority, ASA, and the Competition and Markets Authority, CMA, will have expanded powers to enforce these rules, issue fines, and even ban repeat offenders from monetizing content. This comes in response to studies showing that over 70% of UK teens admit they've been influenced to make purchases online without realizing the content was sponsored. The law also cracks down on misleading health claims, fake product reviews, and before and after transformation content that uses filters or AI-generated enhancement. Any brand or influencer caught manipulating information without clear disclosure faces legal consequences and public accountability. For creators and businesses, this means it's time to rethink how transparency is handled. Sponsored content must now include easy-to-read disclosures at the very beginning of the post or video, not hidden in captions or buried in the middle of content. Platforms like YouTube and Instagram will also be under pressure to provide clearer tools for marking ads, and may introduce automated flags for content that seems promotional but lacks proper labeling. Viewers, meanwhile, gain a clearer sense of what's authentic and what's paid, empowering them to make informed decisions. This law not only boosts consumer protection, it also helps build long-term trust between audiences and creators, pushing the entire influencer economy toward a more honest, regulated digital landscape. Number 10. Compulsory climate risk reporting for businesses. In 2025, the UK is mandating climate risk reporting for all large businesses, requiring them to publicly disclose their environmental impact, carbon footprint, and climate-related financial risks. This applies to companies with over 250 employees or annual revenues above £36 million. The goal is to make climate accountability a core part of corporate responsibility, pushing firms to show how they're addressing their environmental impact and preparing for risks like flooding, extreme heat, supply chain disruption, and energy shortages. The new requirements are based on frameworks like the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, TCFD, and align with similar laws in the EU and Canada. Companies will need to report not just emissions from their own operations, but also those generated through their entire supply chain, including manufacturing, logistics, and even customer use of their products. These reports must be independently verified, submitted annually, and made accessible to the public and investors. Firms failing to comply could face fines, loss of investor confidence, or even legal challenges from stakeholders. This transparency is designed to drive real action, not just greenwashing. For consumers, this means a new level of visibility into corporate behavior. When choosing where to shop, invest, or apply for work, people will now have access to data showing whether a company is truly committed to sustainability. For businesses, it's an opportunity and a challenge. They'll need to invest in energy-efficient technologies, sustainable sourcing, and internal systems to track emissions accurately. Many will also need to appoint dedicated sustainability officers or partner with environmental consultants to meet these standards. Ultimately, this law encourages a shift toward climate-conscious decision-making, not just at the boardroom level, but throughout the entire business model. It's a push toward a future where economic success and environmental responsibility go hand in hand, giving the public the tools to hold major polluters accountable and support companies that are genuinely working toward a greener future. These 10 laws are more than just rules on paper. They're signs of a rapidly changing world. Whether it's your privacy, your paycheck, or your everyday habits, 2025 is shaping up to be a year where doing nothing could cost you more than ever. Some of these changes are designed to protect the public. Others feel like quiet steps toward a more controlled society. Either way, being aware is no longer optional. It's survival. And now, we want to hear your voice. Which of these laws surprised you the most? Which one do you agree with? And which one worries you? Scroll down and drop your thoughts in the comments. Like you're making your own headline. We read every one, and your take could be featured in a future video. Also, if you found this breakdown helpful, there's a previous video you shouldn't miss. It covers the biggest hidden changes from last year that are still affecting your life today. You can find the link in the description or right here on the screen. We put hours of research, writing, and editing into every video, so you can stay informed without the noise. If you believe in the power of knowledge and independent content, help us grow. It only takes 1 second to subscribe, but it means the world to us. Just click that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and join our community of smart, curious minds. Your support fuels our mission, one click at a time.